I was invited to a secret party, and they served me. The envelope appeared under my door. Thick, bone-colored paper, no return address. Inside, only an address and a time written by hand in dark red ink, so dark it looked coagulated. 10:00 p.m. Oblivion Alley, 13. Black door, come alone, come hungry. Pure morbid curiosity. As a content creator obsessed with the macabre, it was impossible to resist. The black door stood between two crumbling buildings, unnumbered. I knocked. It opened instantly as if someone had been waiting behind it. The air that spilled out was warm, heavy, saturated with a scent that made my mouth water involuntarily. Roasted meat, smoky spices, and something else. Something metallic, subtle, almost hidden beneath the aroma. A tall, skeletal woman dressed in faded black velvet smiled at me. Her teeth were too white, too sharp. "Welcome to the feast of true satisfaction," she whispered, her voice like sandpaper. The room was a cramped basement, lit by red candles casting writhing shadows. Around 20 guests sat in silence, chewing. No one spoke, just the wet crunch of jaws and the clinking of silverware on fine porcelain. Strangely out of place in that den. They served me a thick cut of meat on a stained silver tray. It was drenched in a dark red, syrupy sauce. It smelled divine and repulsive at the same time. The first bite was an explosion of umami, tender like butter, juicier than any meat I'd ever tasted. But the texture, it was too soft, lacking the fibrous pull of pork, the firmness of beef. It dissolved strangely, almost gelatinous. I swallowed. The flavor was addictive, deep, but it left a coppery aftertaste at the back of my tongue. Blood. The thought hit like a hammer. I looked at my plate. The sauce oozed, red like a fresh wound. I noticed a small bump beneath the sauce. I nudged it with my fork. It was a fingernail, human, short, chipped red nail polish. Terror, cold and sharp, cut through my gut. I dropped the fork. The clink rang out like a gunshot in the silence. All heads turned toward me. 20 gleaming pairs of eyes, fixed, chewing, smiling with lips stained red. The woman in velvet appeared beside me. "Something wrong, guest?" Her smile was a crack on her cadaverous face. The nail?" I stammered, pointing at my plate. She laughed, a sound like bones snapping. "A house specialty. Adds crunch." Her gaze hardened. "Finish your plate. It's rude to reject our hospitality." I tried to stand. Two burly men in cheap suits, their eyes blank, materialized behind my chair. Their hands landed on my shoulders, heavy as stone. "The bathroom?" I mumbled. The woman studied my sweat-slicked face. Then slowly she nodded. "Downstairs to the right, don't take long." The way to the bathroom was a narrow, dark hallway, its walls damp stone. The smell grew stronger, raw meat, cheap bleach trying to mask something worse, and that ever-present metallic stench, old blood. The bathroom was a cell with a rusted toilet, no window, but beside the sink, a half-open door. Not a bathroom, a pantry, or something worse. The stench was overwhelming. Sweet rot mixed with cold metal, industrial freezers. 3 massive units humming in the gloom. The first was open. Inside, black plastic bags, bloated, dripping dark red liquid onto the concrete floor. On a stainless steel table, stained with rust and dried brownish streaks, rested a piece of meat on a cutting board. Clearly human muscle, an arm. I recognized the tattoo on the forearm still attached, a dragon, identical to one sported by a travel YouTuber who vanished last week. Marcos. Acid burned up my throat. I clamped a hand over my mouth. Something crunched beneath my shoe, a broken plastic tag. I picked it up, half of an ID card. The faded photo smiled back at me. It was the woman who greeted me at the door, only younger, healthier. The name, Elena Varga, reported missing 2 years ago. The shocking turning point. The hostess wasn't the hostess, she was one of them, or what was left of her. I heard footsteps in the hall, fast, intent. Without thinking, I climbed into the second freezer and pulled the heavy door shut, just as light spilled into the pantry through the crack. The cold hit like a fist. It was nearly empty, except for something wrapped in butcher paper in the corner. The paper was torn. What I saw froze me deeper than the 20 DC air. A human foot. Female, with chipped red nail polish. The same as the one on my plate. A choked sob escaped me. Outside, I heard the velvet woman's voice. Cold as the steel around me. Find him! Fresh meat must not be wasted. I burst out of the freezer like a madman, stumbling over the wrapped foot. The hallway was empty, but I could hear muffled laughter and hushed murmurs from the main dining room, growing louder, more frantic by the second. There was no back exit, only the hallway toward the dining room, or the stairs up to the black door. I ran for the stairs, legs numb from cold and fear. The black door, so close. My fingers touched the icy handle, locked. A door slammed behind me. I turned. The 20 guests blocked the lower corridor. They advanced slowly now in terrifying silence. Their eyes caught the candlelight like nocturnal predators. Dark red stains marked their clothes, their chins. The velvet woman led the pack, holding a long butcher's knife whose greasy, red-tinged blade shimmered in the flickering light. "We thought you'd gotten lost, special guest," she whispered, her voice seductively deadly. "The main course is about to be served, and you are the star ingredient." They moved closer. I backed against the door, frantically searching for anything. My hand hit something cold and heavy hanging from a hook on the wall. A meat tenderizer. Rusted, sticky. I grabbed it, feeling its brutal weight. "Back off!" I shouted, my voice cracking. They laughed, a chorus of cruel, ravenous giggles. The first man, one of the burly ones who had held me, lunged. Instinct took over. I swung. The tenderizer landed with a wet, sickening crunch against his skull. He collapsed like a sack of meat, but there was no blood, just a dark, gelatinous mass. The others didn't even pause. The velvet woman struck then, her knife slicing a silver arc toward my throat. I barely dodged, but her other hand, cold as death, grabbed my wrist with inhuman strength. Her breath smelled of raw meat and rotten mint. "You don't understand," she hissed, her eyes black pits swallowing my reflection. "It's not just about eating, it's about belonging. You've tasted the feast. You're already one of us." Her smile stretched far too wide. "The transformation has begun. Don't you feel it? The fire in your gut? The hunger?" Suddenly, I did. A burning deep inside me, a wild urgency that wasn't mine. I looked at my hands. Beneath the rust stains from the tenderizer, my skin looked pale, almost translucent. A scream tore through the dining room. Not pain, ecstasy. The mass of guests dove onto the man I had struck, ripping at him with bare hands and teeth. The sounds, flesh tearing, bones snapping, groans of pleasure, awakened something inside me, something monstrous. The burning turned to ravenous hunger, centered on the scent of fresh blood and hot meat that now flooded the basement. The woman let go of my wrist. She saw the understanding and the horror give way to hunger in my eyes. She offered me the blood-slicked knife. "Welcome to the club, sweetheart," she purred, her voice now sweet, triumphant. "Next time, you'll be the main course. But for now, my trembling hand closed around the cold handle of the knife. The last spark of my humanity blinked out as the first growl of true hunger rumbled in my chest, and I lunged into the darkness of the feast.